Hey. I'm your humble host, Fizz Ed Music, and this right here, this is Urban Politics, where politics lives. Want to thank you all for liking and subscribing as you do. Please, as soon as you have a chance after this video, take your little cell phone over to YouTube, like and subscribe, Fizz Ed Music, Urban Politics. But without further ado, I want to jump right into it like a car and drive, because there's all types of tasty and delicious politics to sink our teeth into. Give me a minute. We'll talk about that too. My IPA of the week. Actually, just my beer of the week. It's a good one. Anyway, let's get right into it like a car and drive. Biden's classified documents. All anybody has been talking about. Why? Because Trump spotted Mar-a-Lago had got raided over what? Classified documents. So let's read through this, man. But after I'm done with this, we'll talk about how Biden's situation very different than Trump's situation. People have been trying to draw some kind of correlation between the two, especially people who sit on the right and Fox News, who can't wait to be like, Democrats, now your president is in trouble for having classified documents not at the White House. But whatever. Listen. Biden's classified documents. A small number of classified documents were found in an office Biden once used. This happened in November. Since then, his aides have been searching for any other documents that might have been left at other locations. The search was described as exhaustive. They want a full account of any documents that may have been lost since he moved out of the vice president's office in 2017. I get it. And even he came forward and said, yeah, this is very serious to me or whatever. I take it very serious when documents, come up missing or whatever. This right here shows you that all them guys play fast and loose with these documents. It is what it is, right? Now, Biden has been in government for 30 plus years. So when you hear that a man of that caliber, who's been in government for 30 plus years, who's still a civil servant, who's still involved with the government, who's still in the government, heck, he's our president, was our vice president, now he's our president. When you hear that he has classified documents, that shouldn't raise an eyebrow, because taking work home, it's always been his work. See what I'm saying? He's still there. He never left government. So the fact that he has government papers with him, that's not really eye-raising. Now, they want to correlate it or try and draw a bridge between what went on with Trump and what went on with him. Big difference is, how about this? Since this was found in November, he's been cooperating with the FBI. He's been cooperating with anybody who, actually, what is this? The National Archives Society. They're the ones who want these papers, right? Because they're national record. He's been cooperating with them. He hasn't tried to hide the papers. He ain't acting funny about them. None of that stuff. He said he takes it seriously himself. So here's the big difference. You have a guy, Trump, who was president, isn't president anymore. So no longer is he a civil servant. No longer is he involved with government. Steals the papers, takes them to his spot at Mar-a-Lago. And then even when the FBI says, hey, look, we know you have these papers, the Department of Justice says, hey, look, we know you have these papers. Just get them all together and send them back to us. It's public record. We need to give it to the National Archive so they can do what they do with it and make sure that it is documented as public record. And he didn't do it. They kept asking, former president, can you please comply with us and just give us these documents back? We know you have them. We know you took them. We're not even tripping about why you got them or why you felt the need to take them. Can you please just return them? They gave Trump several times to return these documents. He didn't return them. Now, I would say he didn't return them because he was looking to sell them to the highest bidder. But that's just me. But who cares? Point being, that's the difference. Biden is cooperating. Trump did not cooperate. That's the reason they had to raid Mar-a-Lago to get those papers back, because he did not cooperate. Biden is cooperating. So that's a huge difference right there. So I don't want to hear how this whole thing is, there you go. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because even Charlemagne the God on the Power Morning crew show or whatever, you know what I'm saying, with him and Angela Yee and, well, not her anymore. Angela Yee got her own thing now, but Charlemagne the God and DJ Envy. Charlemagne had gave, I don't know if it was the Justice Department or something. It might have even been the Biden administration donkey of the day. And I'm like, nah, you can't do that, because this is different. Because Biden and his administration, they are cooperating with the powers that be to make sure that these documents get back to where they're supposed to be. To where Trump He did not do that. Now, I get the fact that people were like, no, listen, if we're holding Republicans' feet to the fire, we got to hold Democratic feet to the fire. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. 100%. And guess what? If Trump, or if Biden was playing games and was acting like he didn't want to turn over these documents, I'm like, well, let's talk about subpoenaing him or subpoenaing whatever we need to do to get these documents back. But that's not the case. Like I said, he is cooperating, something that Trump never did, has never done. So that makes these two situations extremely different. So there's that, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about another Republican, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She's the governor of Arkansas. She bans the term Latinx on her first day in office. First day in office. They said within hours of being sworn in, first thing this woman said is, I'm banning that term, Latinx. We're not using it. The gender neutral term won't be allowed in state government. She did this within hours of being sworn in. It's one of the first, if not the first, executive order of its kind. That's wild. An executive order saying, nah, I don't want to use that term Latinx anymore. Now, that term Latinx has been used to kind of encompass the whole Latin community. Now, I have heard, I didn't know this, but I heard there were some Latin people who don't even like being associated with that themselves, because that Latinx term does kind of lump that whole community together. When I say a whole community, I'm talking about like everybody. You know, old Latin people, young Latin people, female Latin people, male Latin people. You know what I'm saying? People in the Latin community who are part of the LGBTQ IA community. Lumps all that together. So there's some Latin people who don't even like that term themselves. The reason that Sarah Huckabee Sanders is going after it is because the GOP has been going after all of this, whatever they consider woke, whatever they consider forward in thinking, taking this country forward. Basically, when your boy in Florida, you know what I'm saying, gonna talk about this, this is where woke comes to die. So that's what he was saying. This is where civil rights comes to die. This is where the thought that all men should be treated equal comes to die. This is where the thought that women should be treated equal comes to die. Florida, he said that. He didn't say it like that. He said this is where woke comes to die. But you know what that is. That ain't nothing but a dog whistle, a wink and a nod, you know what I'm saying, to all his MAGA friends to let them know that, yeah, we're not on any of that. We're not on any of that. We're trying to give people rights who we don't think should have rights. We're not on any of that. Kids learning what we think they shouldn't be learning. We're not on any of that. She's on the same thing. I give her this. She's in lockstep with the rest of the GOP, right? Because this just speaks to anti-woke agenda the GOP has been increasingly adopting. And that's all this is. This quote-unquote anti-woke agenda. But if you ask me, anti-woke agenda is just anti-progressive agenda. It's anti-moving forward agenda. These are people who want the country to move backwards, if anything. You know what I'm saying? So their anti-forward agenda is this anti-woke agenda where they said, we don't want to recognize people's civil rights. We don't want to get to a time to where, you know, people have an equal playing field. We're not on that. We want to keep things the way they are. If anything, push them back. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's her coming up against this, having a problem with Latin. Why would you have a problem with that term? She's not Latin. Why does she have a problem with the term Latinx? Once again, let me say it for the people in the back. She's not Latin. So why does she have a problem with the term Latinx? Why? Because it's progressive thinking. And she's Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And she ain't nothing but a puppet for the GOP anyway. So how about this? I bet I could talk to her and she couldn't tell me why she's against Latinx. Because these are just marching orders that she's getting from the top. And you know the top is Trump. So a TI is what a TI is, right? But whatever, you know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, you know what I'm saying, the state of Arkansas reelected her as their governor. So they get what they get. They got what they got. I hope they love it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about, let's keep it local. I'm going to get real local, which let's get real good and local. Let's talk about the Columbus City Council passing gun reform legislation. About time that they did it, right? We got 21-year-olds walking around here with choppers. You know what I'm saying? So they come on the street, a chopper, a street sweeper, because, you know what I'm saying, legislation was passed that they can do that. You know what I'm saying? They can do that. So that's the point that we're at right here in this great state of mind. But it looks like the people who are of sober thought have said, hey, we need to rethink that. We need to go back and maybe change some things. So check it out. The Columbus City Council Common Sense Local Gun Laws package contains various bills that address gun reform. It was passed unanimously by the city council. So think about that. At a time we have all this division, all this partisanship, all this, we can't stand those libtards. Oh, we can't stand those Republicans. All that going on, they were still able to come together and say, oh, but the gun violence in this city is off the chain. We definitely need to do something about that. I can't stand your side. You can't stand my side. We don't agree with anything politically. But what we can agree with is the gun violence in the city is off the hook. So we definitely need to reel that in. Thank God there's that. All right. The legislation, and here's what it would do. It would prohibit the selling of a gun to someone not allowed to possess a firearm. You would think that's already prohibited, but I guess it isn't. So this legislation would do that, thank God. Prohibit the possession of high-capacity magazines. Ghost guns have been added to the city's code's definition of firearms. I didn't know they weren't in there. Juvenile access to a gun left unattended would be considered a negligent homicide and assault. Amen to that, because that's exactly what it is. The Buckeye Firearm Association doesn't agree with the ordinance, and they might sue. You can see this coming, because there's some people, whenever you talk about any type of gun legislation, they stand up and say, we got to fight that. We got to fight that, because they're coming for your guns. There go them damn Democrats. Family show, excuse me. There go them darn Democrats. They're coming for our guns, and they can have my gun when they pry from my cold dead hands. You've heard all this stuff. You've heard all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, Lord, here we go with this again. So that's why you have these people, the Buckeye Firearm Association, you know what I'm saying that. And then how about this? They said that they might sue the city. It's hard, though, because some of this stuff is just common sense stuff. I even if you're a gun lover, a gun nut, a lot of my boys are, a lot of my friends, a lot of people watching this show who are friends of mine are gun lovers and gun nuts, and I'm not mad at that at all. You know, but even they would support some of this stuff because it's just, you know what this is? This is just common sense gun laws. That's all this is. Common sense gun reform. That's all this is. Just common sense stuff. This ain't going to stop nobody from having a firearm who wants to have one. This ain't going to stop nobody from protecting themselves. This ain't going to stop nobody from hunting a deer when deer season comes around. You know, this right here might help. This number, juvenile access to a gun left unattended would be considered negligent homicide and assault. That right there is going to help some kids. So that's good stuff. So see what I'm saying? Some of these laws are just common sense stuff. It shouldn't be that big a deal. But then you get some of these people, some of them are pumped up by the NRA. Some are just pumped up by the fact that they're gun owners and they don't want anything happening to their precious guns. So then they talk about how they're going to sue the city and all this. Sue them for what? Trying to help people? It TI is what it TI is, ladies and gentlemen. But I'll tell people all the time, there's a strange love affair in this country with the gun. Americans love their guns. They love their guns like some of them love their God, so they say, but they really, really, really love those guns. And it seems to be a problem that this country has more than other countries. Now, we do a lot of glamorizing of guns and of criminalization and everything in this country, probably because it was founded on such. But it TI is what it TI is. We need to reel this thing in, try to get it under control, if for nothing else, then for the kids. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of that gun violence, unfortunately, it befalls our youth. So we need to get that in check. As my brother would say, get that fixed. We need to get that fixed. Moving on anyway, before I get out of here, before I go into my beer of the week or my IPA of the week, actually my beer of the week because it's not an IPA, but it's a darn good beer. Let's talk about pop culture. All things pop culture, pop culture, pop culture. Who am I talking about pop culture? Let's go number one. What people been talking about? Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. Quite an interesting situation that is. I addressed it on the show before. I'm sure some of you who get into this stuff have been watching and paying attention. It looks like some different stuff has come out. I don't know. Looks like a night they were kicking it. Come to find out, it looks like Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion obviously had some kind of sexual relationship. I don't know if she got mad at him for doing something with her friend who they said, and I can't even remember this girl's name because I'm not giving this story that much energy like that. There are themes in this story that I want to highlight, and that's it. But as far as the exact names of the players and stuff like that, you can do your Googles and check all this out. Anyway, a lot of you already know the story probably better than me anyway. But my point is, with all of this, what it comes down is, number one, I do think Megan had got in mom mode when Tory Lanez shot her. And in her mind, yeah, I want to lie about there being a gun here because I do have 4 black people in the car, or we are 4 black people in the car. You already know how the police been shooting black people like 40 going north. So she said, look, we're fine. We don't need any help. I think that's what that was about. She got a survival mode. She got a mom mode. So let me just lie to this guy because you know what happens whenever there are black faces and a gun present and a cop present. Usually somebody look like me ends up catching a bullet. So she said, I don't want to do that tonight. So let's just lie and say everything is all good. There's that. Tory Lanez, why did he shoot Megan Thee Stallion? It looks like, you know what I'm saying, well, what they were saying is that, you know, she had rebuffed his advances. She wasn't interested in him coming at her or whatever. He got mad about that, shoots her. But then come to find out, they said that the defense said that no, Megan and another young lady who were there have been going back and forth for years, I guess, or whatever. You know, she sleeps with some of her men. She sleeps with some of her men. She sleeps with a guy she talking to and want to get at. She sleeps with a guy she wanted. They've been playing this game for years. And Tory Lanez was a piece of that. He slept with this young lady or whatever. And they said that Megan was upset about that. So they were having an argument. It wasn't one-sided. It was an argument that they were both having. And that she was coming at him. He ended up shooting her. There's that. I don't know. I wasn't there. This is just the story as I hear it. Then there are people talking about how Megan Thee Stallion is going through it because her boyfriend, I guess he knew of some of these famous dudes that she had sex with, but now all these other people have come out, you know what I'm saying, or men that have come out, whatever, that she had sex with or whatever. And as you kids call it, the body count. Said that her body count is kind of high now. That's hilarious to me. Terminology of the day blows me away sometimes. So there's that. With all of that, what can you say? Number one, I'm going to tell you this. And I told my sister years ago, there is a double standard. It's garbage. It's not right. Does it exist? Yes. Is it true? Yes. If a woman goes out here and has sex with 100 men, she's garbage. She's used goods. She's a trollop. She's a whore. She's ran through. When they say she got miles on her, you don't want that woman. But if a man goes out here and has sex with 100 women, oh, he's a player. And he's pimped out. He's a cad. You know what I'm saying? He's the guy all men want to be. You know, look at the prowess on this guy. He got all these ladies. It's wild because how about this? A guy who goes out here and sleeps with 100 women, there are women who admire that. Whether they articulate it or not, there's something about that guy that turns them on. A lot of times, it's the fact that 100 women wanted him. Oh, if 100 women were into this dude, I gotta get a piece of that. I gotta see what turned these women on or made them want him like that. That is the pathology of some women. Most men do not want to be with a woman that 100 other men have been with. And if they are with that woman, they want to do it in silence. They don't want that to be their woman, right? And that just is how it is. Is that a double standard? Yes. Is that wrong? Yes. Is it true? Yes. It just is. So with that whole thing, that's what you get with that. You know what I'm saying? That's what you get with that. Now, Megan Thee Stallion is a big-time rap artist. Her dude should not be so stupid as to think that she's in an industry where people have sex with each other all the time. That just is what it is. Even Tony Stark should talk about that. He said, talking to his woman, he said, for God's sakes, my job came with the, it came with the women, basically, is what he was saying. He's saying, you know what I'm saying? Being an MC, being on this level, it comes with groupies. Men have groupies. Women have groupies. Maybe you didn't know that. Some of these female rappers, talk to them. They'll tell you about their male group. They got male groupies. Megan Thee Stallion, she got groupies. You know what I'm saying? Cardi B, she got groupies. There are dudes who want to get down with these ladies, just like there are women who want to get down with the baby, women who want to get down with Jay-Z just because of who they are. So come on now. So why would her dude think that she ain't got male groupies? Of course she got groupies. And why would he think that she wouldn't have sex with the baby or whoever else is in that industry? That's what that industry is about. They're around these people. They're at the same parties as these people. They're probably going to end up having sex with these people. So the fact that he would just try to come down on her for all of that, it's like, man, let it go. You know who your woman is, and you know what she does. You know what her job is. So you know that sometimes she's around famous people, things can happen. It is what it is. So there's that. Now let's talk about this dude, Andrew Tate. Now this guy, I've seen reels of him, and I don't follow none of his reels or nothing like that. But, you know, say he's a very popular media influencer, charged with several rapes. That blew me away. Now, this guy, once again, he's like a lot of people, other people who got reels me on the internet. Some of the stuff he says I agree with. Some of the stuff he says I don't agree with it. A lot of the stuff this guy I don't agree with, because a lot of it is misogynistic and kind of like saying how women are basically just babies and they don't know what they want or know how to do anything. And most of the stuff that's worth anything you can only attribute to men and men, you know, and men's hard work. Like I said, I don't agree with everything he says. Some of the stuff he says I agree with. A lot of it I don't agree with. He was charged, or actually on a phone call recording, bragging about it. Romania is hitting him with the lover boy charge. You can't use and abuse women. I didn't even know that was a charge. So that's a real thing, the lover boy charge. So they're saying basically that he didn't got with these women, you know, talked them up real good, schmoozed them real good, got them comfortable, and then just used and abused them. And it looks like that's exactly what went on. On a recording, he's talking about how you let me rape you while debating whether it was okay or not. Monsters are monsters. When you're under my control, I do what I please. Come on, man. This guy's just, you know, reprehensible, man. He's just ridiculously horrible, right? His defense, though, is that this is just a character that he plays online and not the real him. Well, that kind of flies out the window when you hear this recording. I heard the recording where he's telling the girl, yeah, I laughed the whole time while you let me rape you, and then you sit there and debated whether rape was wrong or not. That's not cool, man. That's not cool at all. And I didn't think, I'm done with that guy. Not like I said, I didn't follow him anyway. I wasn't a supporter of Andrew Tate. But if I ever was, I'm definitely not now, because I'm like, for real, bruh? What kind of monster are you that you sit there and say that you raped a woman and then laughed at the fact that she debated whether this was correct or not? Listen, men, we know the power that we have, and we know the power that we have over women. And when you wield that power over women and you do bad and hurtful things, that makes you a bad and hurtful person. You right up there with a pimp, bruh. You know what I'm saying? And that's not smooth or colorful or cute or none of that. You're a person who abuses women mentally. Ergo, he's a human piece of garbage. So that is what it is. But that just blew me away that this guy had the audacity to like brag about it. Like I said, he's actually on the phone call with the girl saying this to her. He's a special type of horrible. You know what I'm saying? So I cancel him. Whatever. What does that mean? Whatever. Cancel the guy. Just don't patronize him anymore. I won't be patronizing him anymore. When I see his videos come up, I'll be scrolling past them. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about Dr. Dre and how he went at the notorious or the deplorable MTG's neck. He sent her a cease and desist letter for a video that she made using the music, you know, Still Dre, you know, representing for the gays all across the world. Still, and them Lolos and them Momos, girl. That joint. That Guess Who's Back. I think that's the part that she used, that Guess Who's Back. Talking about Republicans in the House or whatever. The video is cheesy. She's cheesy for doing it. Of course, she got a cease and desist letter because Dre is like, Playgirl. No. And I love that. Republicans are not smart at all. Here's what the members of the GOP do. They're regular people, right? So they like regular music, but they don't get hip to the fact that some of the lame stuff that they do, these regular people are hip to, and they don't like them for it. Ergo, Rage Against the Machine. I remember when Paul Ryan had the audacity to say how he liked Rage Against the Machine, and one of their members said, for real? Because we don't like that guy at all. And I said, man, obviously, Mr. Ryan, you ain't listening to Rage Against the Machine. You're hearing the music, but you ain't listening. Because if you were listening, you would know that those guys are activists all day. Every song that they do is about activism or about helping the people. and they know that you don't do that. They know that you are a wolf, you know what I'm saying, or a monster that preys, you know what I'm saying, on people, specifically poor people, right? Specifically people who aren't Republican. They know all this. Rage Against the Machine are intelligent, thoughtful artists. How do you not know that listening to their music? See, that right there lets you know that he's hearing it, but he ain't listening. He hearing it, but he ain't listening. He ain't getting it. So that's when dude from Rage Against the Machine said, oh, he's a fan of ours. That's interesting because we don't like him at all. I thought that was hilarious. And then Elton John. One of Elton John's biggest fans is who? Trump. Obviously, you're not listening to the music. Obviously, you are not listening to the words in the song, because if you were, you would know that Elton John does not like you at all. And he's come out and said, I do not like Trump at all. I'm his favorite artist. Oh, well, I think that guy sucks. Actually, he said more than that, but point being, it's funny how these conservative people, I want to say conservative idiots, whatever, don't get the fact that a lot of this music that they like, these people don't like you, because listen to the themes in the music. The themes in the music are usually about helping people who don't have. They're usually about an underdog coming up under some adversity. Probably an adversity that someone like you put on them. So pay attention, GOP, and stop trying to get in bed with people who do not want you in their bed. They don't want you in their bedroom, and they don't even want you in their CD player. Nobody listens to CDs anymore. Anyway, moving on. Let's go to my IPA of the week. It's not an IPA. It's a delicious beer. It's this High North. What is this right here? This is Falutin. Oh, Falutin. There you go, Falutin. So that's what this is? Highfalutin? It's a hazy IPA. It's delicious. It's good. I really, really like it. I'm trying to see what is the alcohol content here so I can share that with y'all and you know. But this might have been the one where I got it and I was tripping how the alcohol content wasn't really on it all like that. It wasn't displayed all like that. And sometimes these beers are like that, because I guess their whole thing is like, hey, don't worry about how much alcohol is in it. Just drink it and enjoy it. It says a hazy IPA with aromas of pineapple, ripe peaches, and orange zest. The soft bitterness creates a beer that is not too highfalutin to crush. That's funny. So this is called Falutin by North High, so I guess it's highfalutin. They said it's not too highfalutin to crush. That's funny right there. This is a really good beer, so you got a little bit of money in your pocket. I can't even tell you what the alcohol percent is, because it's either too small for me to read or it just ain't on here. But you know what this is? It's good beer. So like I said, you got a little bit of money in your pocket. Run on down there and get you this North High Falutin Hazy IPA. And I tell you, wow, and this is my IPA of the week, because this is indeed an IPA, Indian Pale Ale, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all know it's my favorite. Hey, what can I say? This has been Urban Politics. I am your humble host, Fizz Music. I want to thank you all for liking and subscribing as you do. As soon as you have a chance, please take a little cell phone over to YouTube, like and subscribe. Fizz Music, Urban Politics. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, see you around like a donut.